There's the nightmare, the Russian nightmare, Nikita Koloff into the ring now, Jim. Nikita's in the ring. There goes the opponent over the top, but Nikita's poised. Ow! Ow! Gary Hart trying to get the attention of Perez as he's got the chain around the throat of Burkfield outside of the ring and pulls on it. Koloff's got him saved. What a sickle! A Russian sickle! And Nikita Koloff now is trying to help this fallen warrior get him back in the ring. Look like Nikita's trying to take that chain off of his wrist. Nikita now has got it. Joe Hart is trying to get the chain off of the wrist of Perez, and he cannot do it. And Koloff has just about got it locked in, and he has. Just as Perez untied it and took off out of the ring.
World Championship Wrestling, bringing you great wrestling action sanctioned by the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance.
There is no doubt the momentum is building as the summer is here, and of course, the Great American Bash. Hi, everybody. Tony Schiavone, Jim Ross, and David Crockett, ringside with the NWA, the Major League of Professional Wrestling. And David, the Great American Bash is hot and upon us.
That's right. The Great American Bash is in Charlotte, North Carolina tonight, and that's where the bash started. Jim Ross?
Well, I'll tell you what, fans. Last week we told you that we're going to do our best to have Precious here in the studio. We have done that. She will be here with us. Plus, we're going to see Kevin Sullivan. That's a powder keg in itself, Tony. Okay, right now, though, we have all the top stars of our sport. Let's bring in the one and only World Heavyweight Champion, Nature Boy Ric Flair. Now, on July 10th, they call it the Ultimate Confrontation. Nature Boy Ric Flair and Lex Luger for the World Heavyweight title.
Well, it's all happening. Tony Schiavone, the controversy lies, but it all will be settled because Sunday night, July 10th, 1 week and 1 day, Ric Flair, the world's heavyweight champion, will walk that aisle, know it, without a doubt, that in his mind and in the mind of all the wrestling experts, he's the very best this sport has to offer. Then Lex Luger, the greatest physical phenomenon to ever come along in professional wrestling. The youth, the speed, the endurance, the hunger to become number one. Walks the other aisle. Now, Luger, I'm glad to be involved in such a great match. It's a great honor for Ric Flair to be recognized as the world champion. But, pal, you will never see Ric Flair drop that title or be defeated in Baltimore, Maryland. The bottom line is, Luger, you're going to have to dig down deep inside. It's not going to be those muscles. It's not going to be all that glamour and all that glory. It's going to be your ability and your ability alone that'll put you on top of Ric Flair. You've got to be able, pal, to walk that aisle and do what you promised the world you can do. Buddy, don't bet on it because Ric Flair and diamonds are forever.
Fans, another 2 men in the spotlight are Barry Windham and the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Let's go up to the ring. David Crockett with the U.S. Heavyweight Champion.
The student and the pupil, the United States Heavyweight Champion, Barry Windham, Dusty Rhodes, July 10th, Baltimore.
You know, I'll tell you what, the Nature Boy laid it down right there. He said it's 1 week away. Well, I will tell you what, 1 week is all you have left, Dusty Rhodes. 1 week is all that you have left in your wrestling career. Because what you're going to do is go home and tell your wife how bad that your student was on this given day. Because I am going to give you the wrestling lesson of your life. And this championship right here, Dusty Rhodes, is going to stay in the Horseman camp. J.J. Dillon has assured me, and I have been training as hard as I ever have in my life, to keep the United States Heavyweight Championship. Dusty Rhodes, look at me very close. You've known me for a long, long time. There's no fear in my eyes and no fear in my heart. When I step into the ring with you, I'm going to do whatever it takes. Picking you up, putting you up on the top rope, and dropping you down 15 feet albeit when I'm stretched out 15 feet to the mat. You are not going to walk out of Baltimore the United States heavyweight champion.
One particular thing before you walk away. Dusty Rhodes made the statement he taught you everything but one thing, and that was how to lose. That's the one thing he never had to teach you, because you're not a loser. You never have been and never will be a loser.
Never learned, JJ. I never learned.
All right, let's go to Tony and Jim Ross.
All right, David, thank you. There's no doubt it's the biggest moment in both careers of Ric Flair and Barry Windham, but they're well prepared. No doubt about it. It's going to be one of the most emotional situations. I've said that for quite some time, involving the American Dream and his former friend, very close friends, Barry Windham. But fans, there's another man in the ring that is certainly no stranger to championships. He'll be in Baltimore in the Tower of Doom. They come no tougher than Ronnie Garvin. Go to the ring. The man with a hands of stone, Ron Garvin, against Larry Stevens. And you know, Jim, you said it right. He is not a stranger to being a champion. Only 41 men have held the NWA World Heavyweight title. And Ric Flair, of course, holding the title, but Ronnie Garvin was the last man to hold the belt. Well, Ronnie Garvin has certainly had a lot of challenges, I know, in the Garvin family involving this situation with Kevin Sullivan, but Ronnie Garvin has stood steadfast with his brother Jimmy Garvin. Ronnie Garvin has not wavered. His loyalty and his support of his brother's problems has been foremost on his mind, I know. And Ronnie Garvin will most certainly be in Baltimore. Will be involved in that three-story Tower of Doom situation involving Kevin Sullivan. And the people involved in that Tower of Doom match, Tony, it's the toughest men in wrestling without a doubt are signed. The 10 men in that are as tough as they come. There's no doubt about it. There is no doubt in the Tower of Doom, Ron Garvin is one of the toughest men alive. And Ron Garvin, of course, former world heavyweight champion, one of the top wrestlers in our sport. Now the Road Warriors are going to be involved. Ron Garvin, of course, gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, Dr. Death Steve Williams. Those all are on one team. You're exactly right. That's going to be, I think, one of the most exciting confrontations. And it's the structure itself of the Tower of Doom is really breathtaking. It's like looking at a three-story building, except you can see through it because you can see through the chains, see through the cage. Really something that will happen in Baltimore. And Ronnie Garvin has certainly intimidated Larry Stevens thus far in this contest. We do want to remind all the fans, Tony, tomorrow night, you and I will be in Amarillo, Texas, for a tremendous event, the Great American Bash in Amarillo. That's going to be something. Of course, the big one at the Reunion Arena this Monday night in Dallas, 4th of July, will be red hot in the Metroplex. Ronnie Garvin now standing on Stevens, running the corner, and our official here today, Teddy Long, warning Ronnie Garvin of his tackle. But Ronnie holding right on. You know, you hear from Ric Flair, and you hear from Barry Windham. The intensity is there. You can see it in Ronnie Garvin. And it all has to do with being champions. And with champions, you have a lot of money involved, a lot more for a winner's purse than a loser's purse. So not only are you talking about wanting to be a champion, but you're also talking about wanting to win a lot of money. And when we talk about the Great American Bash in Baltimore on Sunday, July the 10th, this event, ladies and gentlemen, will not be shown here on TBS. It will be available only in your home on pay-per-view. That is, unless you have a ticket for the big event in Baltimore. So if you don't plan on being in Baltimore or have a ticket, you can get the event in your home via your cable company. So your cable company can do that for you, and right now Ronnie Garvin's doing a lot to flatten Larry Stevens, who just rolls right out of the ring. The man with the hands of stone. He's always light on his feet. He has a terrific knockout punch, but he is a terrific all-around wrestler. All attributes for Ronnie Garvin. And with a high vertical outside-in suplex, he is ready to unload on Larry Stevens. There it goes. Ronnie Garvin just exploded with that big right hand, and as I said, through all the trouble, the trials and tribulations, he has stood fast with his brother Jimmy Garvin, and together the Garvin family will try to ward off this situation with the Varsity Club in the Tower of Doom in Baltimore and take one look at this big right hand. You know what I mean. This man, the former champion, is as tough as they come. The Great American Bash means, as much as anything else, violence in the ring at times, and what a better way to start out with a real violent man. Ronnie Garvin. We'll be back, fans. Don't you dare go away.
It's World Championship Wrestling, the stars of the NWA at the Greensboro Coliseum, Greensboro, North Carolina. Saturday, July 16th, 8 o'clock in Greensboro. The UTC Arena, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Thursday, July 14th, 8 o'clock in Chattanooga. The Broadbent Arena, Louisville, Kentucky. Wednesday, July 13th, 8 o'clock in Louisville. The Von Braun Civic Center, Huntsville, Alabama. Tuesday, July 12th, 8 o'clock in Huntsville. The Wycomico Youth Civic Center in Salisbury, Maryland. Monday, July 11th, 8 o'clock in Salisbury. The Baltimore Arena, Baltimore, Maryland. Sunday, July 10th at 6:30 in Baltimore. The UIC Pavilion, Chicago, Illinois. Saturday, July 9th, 8 o'clock in Chicago. The Civic Arena, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Friday, July 8th, 8 o'clock. That's in Pittsburgh at the Civic Arena. The Dorton Arena, Raleigh, North Carolina. Thursday, July 7th, 8 o'clock in Raleigh. Tampa Stadium, Tampa, Florida. Wednesday, July 6th, 8 o'clock in Tampa Stadium. The Knight Center in Miami on Tuesday, July 5th, 8 o'clock at the Knight Center in Miami. Reunion Arena, Dallas, Texas. Monday, the 4th of July. That's Monday, July 4th, 8 o'clock at Reunion Arena in Dallas. Civic Center Arena, Amarillo, Texas. Tomorrow night, starting at 8 o'clock. That's all the top stars of the NWA. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock at the Civic Center Arena in Amarillo. And then tonight, 7 o'clock, Memorial Stadium, Charlotte, North Carolina. That's tonight, 7 o'clock in Charlotte at the stadium. The NWA, the Major League of Professional Wrestling.
They say the Horsemen rule the wrestling world. The World Tag Team Champions, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard. Will they last through the Great American Bash?
Well, it's obviously, David, through the Great American Bash, we're going to run the entire spectrum. Because on July 10th in Baltimore, they will defend the World Tag Team titles. But from that point on, the Horsemen are defending their pride and their dignity. And I don't care if it is a war game where you have two cages completely surrounding two rings with a cage across the top, nobody in, nobody out. It's a battle of survival of the fittest is what that's all about. And if there are other cage matches or any other type of exotic matches the promoters want to come up with during the Great American Bash, be assured of one thing, the Horsemen will be ready and will reign supreme.
Arn Anderson.
David Crockett, when you go into the Great American Bash and every night you wrestle the likes of Rhodes, Sting, Luger, the Road Warriors, Dr. Death, whoever it may be, and you come out of it with your hide, it's a major accomplishment. But to go into Baltimore, Maryland, and a tag match for the World Tag titles against Nikita Koloff and Sting, you got to look at all the options. You got to look at all the things that go into this match. Sting is a star that rose from nowhere. He came from something that I don't know, JJ can't describe. Tully, Rick, we've all discussed it. He's just one of those phenomenons that comes on once in a great while. Nikita Koloff, you look at the background. Nikita Koloff has been a killer from day one. They have formed a fine team, and they've set their sights on these and these alone, which adds credibility and luster to the tag belts. When you're a World Tag Team Champions, it means you're the finest at what you do in this sport. And Baltimore is a showcase for the Horsemen to always shine. Now, Sting, you've talked to your friends, you've analyzed our technique, you've analyzed what we do, but they always want to be a little light. They always want to be easy on themselves, and they say, Tully's not big enough, Arn's not big enough, they're not smooth enough, they're not flashy enough, there's a chink in the armor, all you got to do is find it. Well, David Crockett, if you check the history books over the last 2 years, you'll find we didn't have to be flashy. What we had to be was champions, and that's what we did, was rise every night to what it took to be champions, exactly what we'll do July the 10th in Baltimore, and it's been your pleasure as usual.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, in Baltimore, they're going to meet Sting and Nikita Koloff. Let's go to the ring and watch Sting in action.
When you get people talking about you, you've really arrived. And to hear the Horseman out here talk about Sting, there's no doubt he's arrived. I want to tell you something else. He has a very tremendous respect for the Four Horsemen, because after the hours and hours that he has indeed looked at the videotape of the matches involving the Horsemen, he has come to the realization, and many of us have, that they are the finest tag team in all of wrestling. And what a phenomenal effort it will take from this man and Nikita Koloff. But they have got the tools, Tony. Physically, they can get the job done. But it all remains to be seen what is exactly going to happen on Sunday, July the 10th, with the World Tag Team Championship on the line. The big matches are when the Horsemen are at their very, very best.
And the big match is upon us. And now Sting flying through the air right onto Gary Phelps, mashing him in that neutral corner. And that is always a prelude to that Scorpion Deathlock. No one has gotten out of it. No one ever has. And, of course, the scene could be in Baltimore with that on one of the four horses.
Little fan there with a Great American Bash T-shirt on. The Great American Bash. Great family sports entertainment for the whole family, young and old alike. And this maneuver is certainly unique. Sting wanted me to say hello, Tony, to all the fans that he will see tonight in Charlotte. And I know he's looking forward to be back in Texas this Sunday in Amarillo and this Monday in Dallas. With maneuvers like this, the Stinger has captivated crowds all over the country. And in just a few moments, he'll be standing by with David Crockett at ringside with a very special interview.
Ladies and gentlemen, they say he came out of nowhere, but he's going somewhere, all the way to the top.
Sometimes I wonder where I came from myself. I'm going to make this short, and I'm going to make it ever so sweet. Because I'm like the majority of the people, sick and tired, David, of Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, week after week, with those belts around their waist. Diamonds this, limousines that. Just like the nature boy with his big beak nose. First of all, you guys ain't cool enough because you don't have a hair. You don't have a haircut. Matter of fact, I said it first, right the first time. You don't have hair on your head. Either one of you. Nikita's got the right haircut. I got the right haircut. July 10th in Baltimore. Whoa! Yeah! Be ready, because you're going to lose those belts. I'm sick and tired of hearing you guys shoot off your mouth later.
The Great American Bash. Watch it.
And the Great American Bash all over the country. We're into the bash season, and fans, record-cutting crowds all across the country. We talked about Charlotte tonight, Amarillo tomorrow night, and Dallas, of course, on the 4th of July. Hello to all the fans. Miami, in Tampa, Florida, at Tampa Stadium coming up on Wednesday. The state capital of North Carolina, the Dorton Arena in Raleigh. Pittsburgh in the Civic Arena. And then 1 week from tonight, a big event in Chicago at the UIC Pavilion. But that's not all. The fans, the atmosphere, the excitement, the matches, and the athletes.
And, of course, Tony, there's so many great matches. All roads leading, of course, to the big one in Baltimore on Sunday, July the 10th. And many of the fans perhaps a little bit confused as to exactly how they can see the event in Baltimore. If you don't have a ticket and plan on being there live, then you can see it in the comfort of your own home through the courtesy of pay-per-view television. It will not be shown here on TBS or your local television station. It will not be shown here on TBS or your local station, but your local cable company can give you that information. But the intensity, the record-setting crowds all over the country have seen it. The Great American Bash, I have never seen anything like it. It was, without a doubt, the hottest sports entertainment ticket in town. We hope that you get yours early.
Okay, fans, we're ready for more action right now. Let's go to the ring. Al Perez, Gary Hart against George South. You know, we touched on the athletes as part of the Great American Bash. Certainly, the Latin heartthrob, as that sign would indicate, is one of the top athletes, but still one of the top athletes who has a man that he has to think about all the time, and that is a man called the Russian Nightmare, Nikita Koloff.
Well, Al Perez and Nikita Koloff are very evenly paired individuals. Both men in excellent condition. They can go the distance if necessary. They both have a high degree of intensity. But Al Perez has got some tremendous amateur background. He's a Tampa, Florida native. He'll be in Tampa this Wednesday night at Tampa Stadium, Tony. Basically a homecoming for Al Perez of some sort. As George South went for the drop kick, but Perez very quick. Nobody home on that one. But when you talk about Al Perez, you've got to address the situation and the brutality of the Russian chain match. That is Nikita Koloff's specialty. He learned it from his uncle Ivan Koloff. He has mastered it, and this man, Gary Hart, must contend with that Russian chain, and it's going to be really something to get Al Perez ready for the match of his lifetime against Nikita Koloff.
The match of his lifetime, right, and just in the same breath when you talk about a scaffold match or a War Games, the match beyond, you know you're going to go into a Russian chain match, and Perez must realize this. He puts on the spinning toe hold and come out with a little bit less of yourself.
Well, that's exactly right. And I want to tell you something. When you talk about leaving it all on the line, there's the bell. We're going to be hearing from Lex Luger and Dusty Rhodes, who will indeed leave it all out there when it's all said and done in their quest to gain the championships that many people think they rightfully deserve. And Al Perez, let's take another look here, Tony. This is a great move.
All right, here it is, the spinning toe hold from Al Perez. Confrontation. Yes, it is with Nikita Koloff. Right now, the Latin heartthrob is with David Crockett, he and Gary Hart.
Ladies and gentlemen, Al Perez, Gary Hart, the Great American Bash, taking America by storm. It's in Amarillo, Texas, Houston, and it is in Dallas.
Dallas, Texas, July the 4th. If you want to see the greatest wrestling extravaganza that has ever happened to the Metroplex, and I'm talking about the whole entire Metroplex. I'm talking as far as San Angelo, Texas, Abilene, Waco, Waxahachie. If you want to see the greatest wrestling extravaganza in air-conditioned comfort, there's only one place on July the 4th, and that is in the air-conditioned 19,000-seat Reunion Arena, and the place is going to be jumping. It may be 115 outside, but when you walk into that beautiful Reunion, the home of the Mavericks, the home of Al Perez and Gary Hart, it's going to be hot outside, but inside it's going to be so cool for everybody in that building except you, Nikita. We're going to make it so hot on you that you will run from the ring in shame. You're coming to Al Perez's area in Dallas, Texas, Reunion Arena. We're going to finish you off, Russian. You ain't walking out of this one. You're going to be carried out, because when it comes to Texas-style wrestling, other than Dusty Rhodes, the other one that does it best is none other than Al Perez.
All right, July 10th, the Baltimore, the Tower of Doom. Al Perez is one of the participants in that event.
This is an event that Kevin Sullivan has put together. It is the most diabolical, it is the most vicious and crucial match that Al Perez has ever been in, and we're going to get the job done.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, more action to come right after these messages.
Well, as gorgeous Jimmy Garvin and the very lovely Precious come to the ring against Agent Steel, it appears that she is very attentive, very happy to be with him. It appears.
Well, right now, who knows how she's going to be, and I don't want to cast any stones because I certainly don't hold any animosity toward a beautiful creature like that. But she certainly is acting a little schizophrenic, if I might use that term. Agent Steel sent to the corner by gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. And I tell you something, I've got one of the most uneasy feelings of going into any match that I have ever had with this Tower of Doom situation on Sunday, July the 10th in Baltimore. You just got to think, well, when 10 men get inside a 3-story cage with trap doors, ladders leading up to the very top cage to get in it, and with her holding the key at the bottom, there's so many things that can happen, and so many bad things, Tony. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, that can happen in that environment.
The bad things we can only assume because we've never seen it before. It has never been done. It certainly is as much as anything else. We take a look at the Brain Buster. Intriguing. Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, Precious, walking up to the ring, and Jim Ross said that she would be here with us. She is here with us today. Let's take a look once again at the Brain Buster Suplex. You know, Tony, I didn't get to find out exactly what the deal was with her and Kevin Sullivan, but I'm going to say this. Something's going on, no doubt about it. And something's going on right here. There is the Brain Buster by gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. And David's got Precious here. Let's go to David Crockett very quickly. David,
here.
Go ahead.
Precious,
David.
you look fantastic. Oh, really.
You a little nervous?
No, Kevin.
You know what this is?
Kevin, I don't know what it is. I think I know what it is, and I think I want it.
You want this?
Kevin, why are you doing this?
Why am I doing it to you?
Yes.
Because you humiliated me on TV and said I was a liar. I still believe what's in this. You know, I still believe everything that's here.
Kevin, why don't you just give it to me right now?
I ain't giving this. Oh, yeah, just hand it over to you, huh?
Settle this right now, Kevin.
We can settle it?
Yes, Kevin.
We can settle it? Yeah?
Give it to me right now.
What will you do for this? You know what I want.
Kevin, what do I have to do for it, Kevin? What do I have to do for it, Kevin?
What do you have to do for it? What do you have to do for it, Patty?
Kevin.
What do you have to do for it? I'll tell you what you have to do. Come here. You want it? You want it? In Baltimore, you'll get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back.
A main event, the biggest, the best, the hardest hitting, and the most spectacular arena bouts in America can be seen on Superstation TBS. It's all action, and it's all right here. The NWA main event, 5:35 Eastern on Superstation TBS Sunday.
Every time I see Kevin Sullivan, I think that the people of the mental ward over at Grady are looking intently at what's going on. Because Kevin Sullivan, not only is he maniacal, but he's very confident about what he's doing, and that is scary. I wonder if that straitjacket Jim Cornette's going to be in on July the 10th is one size fits all, because Kevin Sullivan might need some use out of it after July the 10th if things don't go the way that he wants in the Tower of Doom. He needs to be committed anyway. There you see him. Fans, it's a match for the NWA World Television title. Rotunda, the champion, a one fall 10-minute time limit against a young man named Tony Suber, who certainly has all the ability in the world, but not the experience of a Mike Rotunda, nor does he have the people around the side of the ring with him as Rotunda does. You know, Tony, we're going to be, as we mentioned, in Amarillo tomorrow night. The fans that cannot be in Amarillo can join us on the 900 number, our 900 number broadcast. And look at this, double teaming Tony Suber here in the studio, while Rotunda's got Teddy Long detained on the other side of the ring. They are tying up Suber with that kind of a jump rope, looks more like an outdoor extension cord. And he gets slapped right in the chest, and now right to the head. Steiner, you know, we have said this so many times, he has as much purpose out here as you and I would have in the corner for Tony Suber.
You're right.
No purpose at all.
Absolutely none.
To cause trouble.
Well, you know, he's a little deranged too. He's probably walks in the same steps as his mentor, the games master, closer than anybody in the varsity club. As Suber, the big man at 300 pounds, back in Rotunda, back into the corner. I want to tell you something. The Metroplex in Dallas, Texas is red hot and ready for the NWA's only scheduled appearance in the Metroplex this summer, and that's this Monday night, the 4th of July. You know, the Reunion Arena has great air conditioning. I heard Gary Hart talking about that.
Okay, glad to know that. As Rotunda sits right across the throat now of Suber. Want to let you know that Rotunda very confident, and of course we consider him, we have to, one of the top world television champions of all time. He's held it since January and on a regular basis has been defending the title successfully. But this summer, the challenge is there from not only Sting, a man we've seen before, but Dr. Death, Steve Williams, certainly big threats to that world television title.
Dr. Death, Steve Williams, and Mike Rotunda have really sparked a rivalry between each other. I think it runs past a little bit of collegiate pride there. Both men, former two-sport starters in college. Of course, Rotunda at Syracuse and Dr. Death at Oklahoma. And there's a great rivalry between these two men that has developed in recent weeks. And we have seen a tremendous battle between these two men. Rick Steiner there covers the screen pretty much with that wide back of his.
Sullivan, his mind is elsewhere. Look at him. looking at that letter or envelope or whatever it is, and a very confident look on his face. There's your double arm over the top suplex and your winner, and as expected, still the World Television Champion, Mike Rotunda. You know, not to digress from this outstanding television champion because he's as good an NWA TV champion as ever has been. But when Precious gets around that crazy man right there with that robe on, she changes. There is something in the past. I wish we knew what it was, but there's something there between Kevin Sullivan and Precious. Still more to come. We'll be talking to the Total Package Lex Luger, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and more. What you go with?
Champion Baltimore, Lex Luger will go after the World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair. Then the living legend, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, will challenge Barry Windham for the U.S. title. Dusty.
Well, David, I think that Barry Windham just come out here just a little bit too passive, if you will. J.J. Dillon talking about game plans, talking about Baltimore, talking about the Great American Bash. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of living with the fact that Barry Windham has something that belongs to me. Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, the United States Heavyweight title belongs to me. And everybody from Atlanta to Potomac Union, Illinois, know that when you take something from Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, you got to pay the price. You got to pay the price. And the price is the price for freedom. And now then, the bottom line with the Nature Boy. Be coming out here with no towel, just a little bit jewelry. Are you just a little bit on the edge, Nature Boy? Are you a little bit edgy? Because I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell the wrestling fans, that Lex Luger, my friend, Lex Luger is the next World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion.
Rick? You know, David, first off, I'd like to say that James Day for Barry Windham, you better have one hell of a game plan this time around. Because, brother, the American Dream will be the new U.S. Heavyweight Champion very soon. You know, to try by the Great American Bash, it is just 1 week away. What I'm talking about is 8 days, Nature Boy. And I am possessed. I am obsessed with the idea of wrestling you in Baltimore. Because you see, Nature Boy, for all these years you've been the champ. You've won it. You've won so many matches, and when you've lost it, you've regained it. But you know why you've avoided me so long? It's for the same reason I see those bags on your eyes right now. I hear that ache to your voice because you know I'm different. Because you see, you said I specialize, oh baby, in big men. Well, get a full shot. This is one big man you haven't specialized in yet, and you never will. You know it, and I know it. But you see, Nature Boy, there's payback to be made in Baltimore for Miami and everything else, and the long wait you've made me have. I've got an hour to do with you whatever I want to do. And the bottom line is this: as great a champion as you've been, all the guys you've wrestled, all the times you've lost, you see, Nature Boy, you know, and I know, that when, not if, when I win that title, there will be no 6th time, Nature Boy, because then you gotta beat the Total Package. When the champion has the advantage, you gotta put my shoulders down, and I'm telling you right now, it won't happen. So, Nature Boy, you're on the edge of the cliff in Baltimore, you're hanging on, and I'm gonna be one standing there to step on your fingers and send you down that cliff.
July 10th in Baltimore, that's where the action's gonna be. In the ring now, the Fantastic.
Tony, there you see Tommy Rogers carrying around that straitjacket as Bobby Fulton leaps over the top rope. Into the ring is going to be Mike Jackson and Curtis Thompson challenging the reigning United States Tag Team Champions. And they certainly, as well as Dusty Rhodes and Lex Luger,
Sting and Nikita Koloff. These two young men have a major challenge ahead of them in Baltimore. When Jim Cornette, if it comes out the way I know the majority of the fans would like to see it with the Fantastics victorious, then Jim Cornette's going to be lowered down from about 50 feet above the ring, all comfy in that straitjacket, and then they're going to lash him with a leather strap.
It was in Chattanooga, Tennessee also where they won those U.S. Tag Team belts, and they'll be going back to Chattanooga the 14th of this month against the Midnight Express, and it's going to be one of those matches that's way up in the air.
You bet. 20 feet above the ring. A great arm drag takedown, and a nice reversal by Mike Jackson, but very quickly Bobby Fulton is out, and Jackson going for the pinning predicament. Mike Jackson, of course, a veteran, sitting here many times on TBS. Mike's a great competitor, but he's in there with one of the finest, the smoothest tag teams in wrestling. That's the Fantastics. And speaking of great tag teams, oh, what a drop kick by Tommy Rogers. Rogers is what a drop kick he's got. The Rock and Roll Express with us also, Tony, here today. Nice drop toe hold by Tommy Rogers. Wrist lock on powerful Curtis Thompson. Jim Cornette's going to be out here. He's got some comments to make, I'm sure, that will be priceless regarding his situation in Baltimore. Powerful clothesline by Curtis Thompson. Still to come, Ivan Koloff and the giant Russian assassin. We're going to hear from the Road Warriors. We're going to see Dr. Death Steve Williams in action. We're going to see the Sheep Herders in action and much more. All yet to come here on the Superstation.
One of the true great athletes in our sport right there, Tommy Rogers, who came right off of the top. He is full of quickness, of power, and they make such a great tag team. Fans love them so much that it's easy to see why Cornette hates them, because they represent everything he dislikes.
Powerful Curtis Thompson kicks out at a 2 count here. Well, I'll tell you something. This is a great team, and they have certainly been a thorn in the side of the Midnight Express. They have proven that they can beat the Midnight Express, which very few teams have ever done. And if they can do it in Baltimore, then Jim Cornette will be lashed. And I mean, you've got to think that when they lower him down from high up in the Baltimore arena and they get the opportunity to hang him over those ropes and really lash him, they're going to take their time and savor every single lash on Master James E. Cornette.
Thompson now trying to make the tag. It does so to Mike Jackson. Jackson, quick himself, but nothing to compare with these two men as Tommy Rogers gets in the high backdrop and goes right at him. The Fantastics. Certainly, with Cornette high above the ring in a straitjacket, one would think that Cornette would be neutralized, but it is almost on the same line of with the Horsemen. And that is, when you think you got him at your mercy, that's when something goes awry. There's your high vertical suplex. And now, here's the tag again. On par with what the Midnight Express do, here's your rocket launcher down on top of Curtis Thompson.
And if they can execute that maneuver with that effectiveness on Sunday, July the 10th in Baltimore in the arena, then Jim Cornette will be lowered from high above the ring. He'll be wearing that straitjacket from the time the match starts, and then he will be lashed and given the whipping that his mama never gave him. A trip to the woodshed may be in line for Jim Cornette.
Okay, now let's go to David Crockett.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, July 10th in Baltimore. This man will be in a straitjacket.
Let me tell you something right now. The Great American Bash is catching fire like wildfire all over the country. It's burning from one end to the other. And July the 10th, Baltimore, Maryland, is getting closer and closer and closer. The Fantastics are going to put the U.S. Tag Team title on the line against the Midnight Express. The loser gets 10 lashes. The winner gets the belt. But what's more, in an outright blatant attempt to humiliate me, to make me look like an idiot, they're going to stick me in a straitjacket and hang me 50 feet in the air over that ring. Now, I realize, David, that you and Larry and Curly over there would love to see me in a straitjacket. And I realize the Fantastics and the NWA would love to see me in a straitjacket. But the American people are behind me, brother, just like they always are, and behind the Midnight Express, one of the most prestigious publications in America today, Pulitzer Prize winners in journalism, the Weekly World News. The first ones to break headlines like Adam and Eve found in Asia. World War II bomber plane found on the moon. Injured UFO crew in Soviet hospital. And, of course, Elvis is alive. He was seen at a Burger King in Kalamazoo, Michigan. These guys are on top of things. And right here in the latest issue, right here on the editorial page next to the science column where it says that an expert says dinosaurs honk like Buicks, it says that in a survey taken of the population of Butte, Montana, 95% of the people did not want to see Jim Cornette get put in a straitjacket, 2% did, and 3% were unavailable for comment. And brother, there you have it. But I don't care who's behind me, the American public or anybody else, as long as the Midnight Express is. I'll tell you this, fantastic. After you have finished on July the 10th, humiliating me by putting me in a straitjacket. After you have finished on July the 10th, embarrassing me by putting me in that cage. And after you finished on July the 10th, petrifying me and scaring me to death by hanging me up in the air 50 feet over the ring. Well, then there's an old saying that goes like this, brother. He who laughs last, laughs best. And believe you me, when I'm hung up there after I've been petrified and humiliated and embarrassed, when I see the Midnight Express take those U.S. Tag Team title belts from you, when I see you get whipped like the dogs that you are, when I see that I'm hanging up there and I'm not there to be able to pull the Midnight Express off of you, brother, then fantastic, I'm going to be laughing. I'm going to be laughing, and so is everybody else, because we're going to embarrass you and humiliate you. But for me to be put in a straitjacket and not be able to guide my great champions on to victory is ridiculous, David Crockett. Do you realize they never even tied my hands up when I was little, and I used to be hyperactive when I was a child, but I got all that taken care of with medication. But I'll tell you this, fantastic. We're going to get you one way or the other. I just hope I don't get hurt, Bobby. You know how long? It could be all the way.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, July 10th in Baltimore, he's going to be in a straitjacket. Let's go to the ring. The Rock and Roll Express.
The Rock and Roll Express are back right here on the Superstation against Bob Riddle and Joe Cruz. You know, if we can very quickly touch on something that Jim Cornette said about Butte, Montana.
Yes.
I know a lot of great people in Butte, Montana. And I certainly hope in the near future they get a television set so they can really see what Jim Cornette is like.
And you think he wants us to believe that he bought all those tabloids. He found them in the bus station where he hangs around quite often. They were free because he's not going to spend that much money on anything. Now, the Rock and Roll Express are here, and they're here for a reason. They want to set the record, unprecedented, 5 times as tag team champions of the world. And I'll tell you something. They've won it 4 times. I'm not going to bet against them from regaining those titles.
The Rock and Roll Express with all the ability in the world, we know that. All the fan support, and of course, to NWA as they give a high double backdrop to Bob Riddle. To come into the NWA and say we are going to be champions for the 5th time means you got to do it by going right through the 4 horsemen. And very frankly, as you said earlier, Jim Ross, and correctly so, the greatest tag team in the world right now.
Well, Robert Gibson and Ricky Morton have been partners in and out of the ring for a long, long time. And they have no wasted motion. They know exactly what they're here for. They know exactly what they're going to do. They always come to the ring with a great game plan, and they can adapt to any style. No doubt about that. They can adapt to any style. And our international flavor in tag team wrestling will continue in the hour with the Russian duo of Ivan Koloff and the Russian Assassin. The New Zealand Sheep Herders will be here wrestling, and they have got a real vendetta against Ricky and Robert as well.
That's true, and you know, when you talk about being World Tag Team Champions, it doesn't mean you're just going to go and wrestle Arn and Tully exclusively. Back in the NWA, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of people out there that would like to not only set up roadblocks to prevent, but would also like to hurt this team, and those 2 men are Butch Miller and Luke Williams, the New Zealand Sheep Herders.
Joe Cruz in there, right hand buried by Ricky Morton. Morton and Gibson controlling the action here. We're also going to hear from the Legion of Doom, the Awesome Road Warriors. Here in the balance of our program as well. Double team moves, one after the other. They can really put it in succession. Bob Riddle came in, and he just went out as quickly as he got here.
That's a new move, going right to the hole. Both men into the corner, and now set up. Down goes Joe Cruz from the patented double drop kick
from Ricky and Robert. They are back. They are looking as good as ever. And they are certainly worthy of a World Tag Team title shot against, of course, Tully and Iron. But first things first, and that, of course, is the Great American Bash. And the battle's at hand right now as Joe Cruz goes down. We'll be back, and David will talk to the Rock and Roll just a short second.
Will express a very big part of the Great American Bash.
You know, Dave, if we no strangers, nobody around the world. I do a double drop kick goes to show you that we can beat anybody. Let me tell you something, guys. The Great American Bash coming around. We want the WCW World Tag Team title, David, for the 5th time.
All right, yeah, you talk
That's
about...
right, David. The Bash is not the only reason the Rock and Roll Express are back here, baby. We're back here for a lot of different reasons. You see, we've been around the country. That's right, we've been around the country, but we've been kicking tail just to stay in shape, baby, to show you what it's all about. Because we know that we are back in the National Wrestling Alliance, the toughest wrestling of all times. Bar none, baby, bar none. But like we said, we're here for a reason. 5 times NWA World Tag Team Champions. And that's a promise for all these nice men that stand behind us, baby, that we are here. That's right, baby. Rock and roll is back, and rock and roll is here to stay. Yeah!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Great American Bash, it's coming your way, so watch it.
Sounds here, ladies and gentlemen, on World Championship Wrestling. Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, and David Crockett back with you here on the Superstation as we take a look at Paul Jones' Russian duo. Of course, the veteran, the Russian Bear Ivan Koloff, and the giant Russian 6'8", 350 pounds, the Russian Assassin. And Mr. Jones is joining us here at ringside. And I want to tell you something. This man is big. He's impressive. And he's, as we look at him, bigger than either one of the Road Warriors. Now, whether he's going to be man enough to handle him, that still remains to be seen.
Well, you know, Jim Ross, I'm glad you made the statement about the man's size bigger than the Road Warriors, because if I would have said it, the people wouldn't believe it. Well, let me tell you something right now. You know, before I put my men in the bashes and these scaffold matches, I sit down and I ask myself, who are these bashes for? Is it for the winner, or is it for the loser? But no, it's for the fan. It's for the wrestling fan that wants revenge, what they call revenge. Well, brother, let me tell you something right now. My men are ready for these bashes. Look at this man right here. Look at the power. And you cannot deny that.
Well, I certainly can. At 6'8", 350 pounds, he's the largest Russian athlete ever to compete in the American rings here. But if you go all over the world and you go to a country like Japan, I don't know if the people in Russia would agree, but a great country like Japan, they say, who's the toughest tag team in wrestling? They're going to tell you the Road Warriors, Paul.
Well, it's because the fans say they are. Whatever the fan says, everybody seems to believe. And whatever you commentators stand up here and tell the fans, they think it's gospel. When I get up here and I tell somebody, I've got to go out in the ring and prove it. And that's exactly what we're going to do in the bashes.
This man is really awesome, and I want to tell you something. Ivan Koloff, I know, has given this man a gut check. He can trust this man. He knows he's going to be there when the going gets tough, and it's going to get real tough, Paul, 20 feet above the ring.
That's right, Jim. I feel so secure when I have a solid team here, a thoroughbred team, 2 Russians. And look at this here. There's no way a man can escape.
That is one of the most deadly maneuvers, the Russian guillotine. This man is so big and so strong. The pending confrontation with the Road Warriors is going to be awesome. But we're going to hear from the Road Warriors in this program as well, Mr. Jones. All right, Tony. One more look at this maneuver. The Russian guillotine. It is awesome. It certainly could put somebody out of the sport. And that's what, as this is going on, that's what they're trying to do at the base of the ring right now. Your winners, Paul Jones is Ivan Koloff and the Russian Assassin.
Paul Jones says his Russian Assassin is bigger than the Road Warriors.
You know something, David Crockett? He may be bigger. He's 6'8", 350. That's okay. We face big men in the past. But you know he's got to have it. He's got to have the hatred right here. We even hate a lot of Americans, and we especially do not like you either, Koloff, or that stinking Russian assassin. You're going to find out what kind of hatred we've got built up in us when we get you on the Skywalkers. You know, David, the Great American Bash, we got Tower of Doom coming up, Baltimore, Maryland. A lot of people are going to feel a lot of pain from the Warriors. You know, Hawk and I, we were kind of chuckling back there. We listened to the Four Horsemen's interview. We listened to Paul Jones out here. You know, it's kind of funny. We liked it. They show a lot of spunk. We're going to feel good kicking your teeth down your throat, right, Hawk? You know something? When me and Animal were in St. Charles Reformatory beating up all those other kids, we were young men, see? We were never kids. They said, boys, that's got to stop. You should get in the ring and do it as professionals if you like it that much. Well, isn't it a fact that that's what we're doing now? And isn't it also a fact that we're the very best tag team in professional wrestling? Yes, it is a fact. It's a fact because I said so. That's why this is the machine that drives professional wrestling. And this is the motor that tells the machine what to do. Precious Paul, #1 manager of all time. Tell him, Paul. You know, David Crockett, I listen to Kevin Sullivan, and he's a very powerful, intense, sick individual. And I see that his power comes from one thing. And Kevin Sullivan, you're always exploiting contradiction. You're a sick man. You've devised a sick match. But there's one thing that's sicker, and that's the Legion of Doom. We're the maddest of the mad, and we'll see you in Baltimore.
That's right, Baltimore, the Tower of Doom, Skywalkers, War Games. It's all part of the Great American Bash. Let's go to the ring and Dr. Death, Steve Williams.
The one and only Dr. Death, Steve Williams, against Ryan Wagner. The intensity is picking up. You know, it really doesn't take something like the Great American Bash to get the Road Warriors fired up. They're always that way. Can you imagine Dr. Death and the Road Warriors together in the Tower of Doom in Baltimore? And Ronnie Garvin and gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. There's, you know, Jimmy Garvin's a finesse wrestler in the past. Now he has been pushed into a corner with Kevin Sullivan where he's fighting for his life, and he can handle himself. But Ronnie Garvin, Dr. Death, and the Road Warriors have had that tough man image, that tough guy image, and they've earned it. Some of us didn't say, well, they're tough. Dr. Death and the Oklahoma Stampede, well, he didn't work by the hour, does he? I can foresee, as he has his hand raised in victory, I can foresee that during the Tower of Doom, if the trapdoor doesn't open in time for them just to rip one of the tops off of it. Well, they're strong enough and powerful enough to do it. I'll tell you something. The Tower of Doom, what's going to happen? Dr. Death, Steve Williams, and company involved in that bizarre matchup. But look at 288 pounds. He's all man. He caught Ryan Wagner, who weighs 245 or 250, right in midair. And the Doctor with a patented Oklahoma Stampede. And yet another victory here on the Superstation. And the Doctor is standing by with David Crockett.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, in Baltimore on the 10th, Ric Flair wrestles Lex Luger. The World Heavyweight Championship's on the line. And then Dr. Death, Steve Williams, is in the Tower of Doom.
First of all, David, Mike Rotunda, you're out here throwing quarters around. You better be holding on to those quarters because you're going to have to call somebody. Mike Rotunda, go back to your ex-teammates. Ask Gene Mills how tough I am. Ask Bruce Baumgartner, Olympic champion, how tough I am. Mike Rotunda, before the summer's over, the belt will be around my waist. Now, David, it's kickoff time. The AP and UPI poll came out, and you know who's on top of the list, don't you?
Who is?
Lex Luger, Dusty Rhodes, the World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair. You've got your hands full now. Now the Tower of Doom. One thing, I'm forgetting my good friend Dusty Rhodes, Barry Windham. You are the student. You are the student. When the dream gets in the ring, brother, it's time to go back to school. The Tower of Doom, Baltimore, July 10th. I am the sheriff. I am the law. When I get in that Tower of Doom, Kevin Sullivan, my good friend, the Garvins, you'll never even come close to Precious. And my very close friends, the Road Warriors. If you don't think there's some beef in that ring, you've got another thing coming. Because when we all step in there and the doors close, you boys have to look right across and look right into our eyes. Look very closely, because hell is gonna break out.
The whole world is watching in Baltimore on July 10th. More action right after this.
We are taking a look at certainly one of the most bizarre assemblages we've ever seen. Now the New Zealand War Haka. The salute, the homage to the New Zealand flag from Rip Morgan, who seems to have a couple of screws loose himself, and of course the New Zealand sheepherders.
Well, these men are certainly no strangers to wrestling fans anywhere, especially in the great state of Florida, as they will be in Tampa at Tampa Stadium this Wednesday night. And one of the biggest wrestling cards, if not the biggest in Florida wrestling history, this Wednesday night outdoors at Tampa Stadium. Should be really something there, fans.
Also, Jim, want to say hello to all of our fans in Miami at the Knight Center. Also, the Dorton Arena in Raleigh, Pittsburgh at the Civic Arena, of course. We talked in depth about the 4th of July in Dallas, Amarillo. And don't forget, if you can join us in Amarillo tomorrow night, you can always pick up a telephone and dial the wrestling hotline, listen to it, play-by-play live as it happens.
That's right. We're having a lot of fun, Tony and I, doing that. We'll be in Amarillo tomorrow night as the sheepherders on a vendetta during the Great American Bash, whether it's the Rock and Roll Express or any other team. This is a team that you can never count out of a championship situation. They are bizarre, they are unorthodox, they're extremely hard to scout, and they are as physical as any team that you will ever see in wrestling. They've never walked away from any fight. You can look at their face and tell that.
Into the corner, and now Miller goes after the man. The tag is made, and here comes Luke Williams. Double team extraordinaire right here. They are brutal. I know, looking closely at Ricky and Robert. For Ricky and Robert to even get a chance to go after the World Tag Team Champions, they got to get through these two men. You heard Williams right there shouting rock and roll.
Well, we know that the Rock and Roll Express have made the statement that they're going to go through anybody it takes to regain the world.